Hello, and welcome to this week's Asia Business Network podcast. I'm David Clive Price. And coming up today, we have something different. I recently attended a summit of European CEOs and business leaders in Copenhagen. And while there, I took the opportunity to discuss with Mariano A. Davis, President and CEO of the British Chamber of Commerce in Denmark, my forthcoming talk to the Chamber, Bend Like Bamboo, on the subject of intercultural leadership. So here is the conversation in question and answer form. Question: why do you think intercultural leadership and cultural awareness are so important in business nowadays? Answer: globalization has made the business environment not less, but more complex, more dynamic, and more competitive. In this context, the ability to perform well in different cultural settings has become increasingly important. Question: and yet some would say cultural differences matter less in this age of rapid change, when we are more connected and digitized than ever, with more cross-border M&A, many new and more accessible markets, and greater mobility of workforces and teams. Answer: yes, we are more connected than ever, but as business becomes more global, there is a greater need to gain knowledge about local markets and cultures, a greater need to build local and cross-border cultural teams, and more pressure to compete against local and regional competitors. Question: does this have any relevance for smaller and medium-sized companies, or does it only concern multinationals? Answer: it has relevance across the business spectrum. Even the smallest company can now be a mini multinational and has the potential to be a leader on the global stage. Question: so how do you suggest companies, both large and small, develop the intercultural skills needed? How do they build successful multicultural teams at home and overseas? Answer: some 25% of European companies in a recent survey cited fear and lack of local knowledge as the biggest obstacles to their doing business overseas or across borders. That means that fear is hindering many companies from developing the necessary cross-cultural skills to succeed in the global marketplace. Question: what kind of fear? Answer: fear of operating in an unknown business environment, of stepping away from the familiar. Another big fear is the threat posed by the rise of the emerging markets. 7 of the largest 12 global economies by 2020 will be in the emerging markets. Asia's middle class will soon equal that of the US and Europe combined. Question: so how does this impact the ways companies approach new markets, for example, those in Asia? Answer: the rapid shifts in the global economy have both leadership and cultural implications. The most successful leaders will be socially and culturally adept, able to transform their company culture by being globally agile and responsive to other mindsets and other ways of doing things. Question: but surely business is pretty much the same everywhere. At least that's what many would say. Yes, they might say that, but you look into China and other Asian markets and try to use your usual rational, decisive, and rules-based approach leading to a contract or a deal. It won't work. Question: and the reason? Answer: business in Asia is much more personal and relationships-based. These relationships are built over a long period of time and are not tied to transactions, but to mutual obligation and benefits, matters often beyond business, and on networks. Question: so you're saying that there's a fundamental difference between the ways Asians do business and the way we do business in Western countries? Answer: there are many exceptions and many differences between generations, but by and large, the family and the collective are far more important in most Asian countries than in our more individualist Western cultures. So too is saving face and avoiding confrontation, or being publicly critical of the boss or other colleagues, or your Western counterpart. Question: is that why gestures of respect seem to have a lot more importance in Asian countries, including banqueting and gift-giving and other elaborate forms of etiquette? Answer: yes. Which brings us back to how to develop the necessary intercultural skills to succeed in new markets, whether in Europe, in the US, or in Asia. Question: so what would be your top recommendation for becoming a globally agile leader? Answer: in order to achieve success in overseas markets and in a multicultural setting at home, you need to adopt what I call a bamboo mindset. That means being strong and yet flexible, able to support an ambitious business plan and your brand's DNA, and yet supple enough to adapt to cultural differences. Question: and what would be your essential toolkit for achieving this bamboo mindset, as you call it? Answer: saying yes to other cultures and other ways of doing things, developing local cultural intelligence to market your brand and products, and compete against local and regional competitors. Not being afraid to make mistakes and learn from them. And, above all, curiosity. So that's the end of the interview. I'd love to hear from you if you have tips or comments about intercultural leadership, or about doing business in China or in other parts of Asia. You can leave them at my blog, www.davidcliveprice.com/blog, davidcliveprice.com/blog. And of course, please subscribe if you want more on-the-ground intel just like this. All you have to do is add yourself to the subscription box on davidcliveprice.com, and you can also subscribe to this Asia Business Network podcast on iTunes.